Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I don't know about you guys, but I am pretty much a junkie when it comes to new drugstore products. If there's a sign at the drugstore or Walmart or Target and it says new, I'm like all over it instantly. So today it's going to be a brand new drugstore review that I'm actually really excited about because I don't know about you, but I am a foundation... I don't want to say the word junkie again because that just sounds repetitive and weird. I obsess over foundations. That's probably one of my #1 favorite products to buy. So in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the product for you guys and kind of share my first impressions on the product. But then in the same video, I'm going to continue on a week later and tell you my final thoughts on it. That way it's kind of a full review, but then gives you the first impressions of the products as well. Now that I'm done blabbing, I can go ahead and share the actual product with you guys. So the new foundation that I'm talking about is from Maybelline, and this is the Fit Me Shine Free Stick Foundation. Now I think it's been a while since the drugstore has actually carried any kind of stick foundation. The foundation is available in 12 different shades. I picked mine up in 220 Natural Beige and it ended up basically being a perfect match. I'm gonna go ahead and insert a close-up right now because I want you guys to see the actual product close up. Now the outer ring is supposed to be the gel-based foundation, and then the inner ring is the anti-shine core that apparently has lightweight powders, and what these powders are supposed to do is dissolve any excess oil. So that's where I guess the name Shine Free in the foundation comes from. When searching on Maybelline's website, I saw that the price range said $8.99, but prices may vary. I actually picked mine up at Walmart yesterday for $6.47, and then Maybelline also had a $2 off Peely coupon. So if you have a Walmart nearby, you may want to check it out there because $4.47 for a foundation, I feel like you really can't beat. So here is one final look of the foundation. So right here, you just have the lid and then the chubby swivel stick, and then inside of the tube, you get 0.32 ounces of product. And then the name is also displayed on the bottom as well as the top lid. Now that you guys got a rundown of the product, let's go ahead and jump into my first impressions and final review. I hope you guys enjoy. So I feel like I look super sickly with my eyes done and not my face. So let's spare you the fear and hurry up and get on into this. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm using the foundation stick in the shade 220, and then I figured it would be a good idea to try applying it in 3 different ways as well. So I have a damp beauty blender, my Sigma F88, and then my spirit fingers. So I figured that way we can just see which way we'll, I guess, apply the best. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start off with my right cheek. Since it's in a stick form, I figured the best way is to just swipe it right onto your face, I imagine. So here we go, just like war paint. I'm just gonna go ahead and put 4, maybe 5 lines. It actually goes on a lot thinner than I thought it would. I don't know, to me when I look at a stick foundation like this, I imagine it to be a lot thicker and cakier, kind of like theater makeup. Okay, this blends in super nicely. I'd say it's about a light to medium coverage. On camera, it looks like it's giving a lot more coverage than what it is because I can definitely still see my freckles peeking through, but I do feel like it concealed a lot of the redness. Alright, so there's one layer right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and go onto the other cheek and try it with a beauty blender. Okay, I'm thinking I already like it more with the brush. I feel like this beauty blender is kind of wiping away some of the product. I don't know. See right there how it's still a little bit red? Okay, so from what I'm seeing so far, I'm thinking a brush is definitely the way to go with this foundation. I don't know, because I still see a lot of redness peeking through right here. And then let's just try on my chin with my fingers. It glides on and blends in super smooth. Okay, just from doing that right there, I will say I like my fingers more than the beauty blender. Normally, I really like the beauty blender, but I just feel like this kind of swiped away some of the product. If you look at this cheek, it looks a lot more matte and covered than this cheek. So I think I'm gonna go back on this cheek and continue using the Sigma F88 just because, I don't know, I feel like I could have gotten a little better coverage. More normal to dry skin. My T-zone does get oily a little bit, just like any other person, but for the most part, I'd say the majority of my face is dry. So if you guys are interested in this foundation and you have really oily skin, my friend Melissa is actually doing a review of this as well. Her channel is Love Melissa Michelle. I'll go ahead and put a link right here that you can just click on it. So for any of you that have more oily skin, I would highly recommend checking out her review because that's gonna be more of a skin match for you guys. Okay, so here is one layer foundation all over my entire face. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom you guys in just so you can get a better idea of the coverage. As you can see with one layer of foundation, it's not really full coverage, but we're gonna continue just to see how far we could build it up to without getting like a cake face. But right now, I'd honestly be comfortable walking out with this kind of coverage. I feel like it definitely looks like skin. You can still see freckles, but for the most part, it did cover up a majority of my redness. Here's my face with the second layer of foundation. I feel like you could definitely build this up to medium full coverage. I'm perfectly comfortable with this coverage. I feel like if it was any heavier, it would feel uncomfortable and tacky on my skin. With the second layer of foundation, to the touch, I do feel a little bit of tackiness. Nothing like Revlon Color Stay or a really thick creamy foundation. It's just no longer as powdery of a finish as it was with just the one layer of foundation. So now I'm gonna go ahead and set my face with powder, just because no matter what kind of foundation I use, I almost always set it with powder. So I don't feel like it'd really be fair to test it if I wasn't setting it with a powder and a full face. All right, so I am back again. All I used to set my face was a really finely milled loose translucent setting powder. It was the Mercier Universal Setting Powder. So I used that and then just did my normal blush and bronzer. I have a brush hair. So here is the current state of my face at 11:37 a.m. Hopefully it'll look somewhat similar in about 4 to 6 hours. So I will see you guys then. Okay, guys, so it's currently 7:30. It's been 8 hours since I first applied the foundation. I was gonna do a midway checkup, but I totally forgot. Also, I did pop off my eyelashes because that's what I do when I finish filming. But yeah, so for the first day, I think I'm really liking the foundation. I will say that I did get a little bit shiny on my forehead, as you can see right now, and down my T-zone. I haven't added a touch of powder on top of the foundation, but I have been blotting with these clean and clear oil absorbing sheets. I did this twice throughout the day. But I think that may have to do with the climate too, just because it's so humid and hot here. But other than that, I think the coverage is still pretty darn good. Like I said, there's a little bit of shininess, but I feel like for the most part, it's still covering my redness. So I will say for my first day / first impression of the Maybelline Fit Me Stick Foundation, I am really impressed. So I will check back in with you guys in about a week. Now I'm back after several days of using this foundation. I'm actually currently wearing it right now. So I wanted to come back and kind of update you and give you guys my final thoughts of the product. So as you guys saw in my first impressions video, it definitely withstood Florida's humidity, but about after 4 to 6 hours, I definitely noticed that I had to blot. I just used some clean and clear oil blotting sheets. I never added any more powder on top. I typically don't with most foundations. If I start to get shiny, I just like using blotting sheets. I feel like adding powder, that kind of gives you cake face. One thing that I did want to quickly mention is that every time I did use the Maybelline Stick Foundation, I always just set it with a translucent setting powder. I never used an actual powder foundation on top. I feel like if you did something like that, that could probably definitely increase the longevity of the wear. But to me, just the foundation on its own provided enough coverage to where I didn't want to add more powder on top of it. I liked that the foundation allowed my skin to still breathe and not feel like heavy on. So as you guys saw in the demo, I never applied a concealer on top of it. So the coverage of the foundation I absolutely love. Secondly, the longevity of the foundation I feel like is pretty average. I don't think it's worse than most, and I don't really think it's like outstandingly better than some of the other drugstore foundations out there. If you're someone who's used to wearing Revlon Color Stay, I always mention that foundation because I feel like a lot of people use that as their drugstore foundation. I do feel that that one is definitely longer wearing, but I feel like that foundation is kind of longer wearing than even most high-end foundations. So like I said, the Fit Me has more of an average wear time, I guess. As for the whole shine free claim, like I said, I felt like 4 to 6 hours in, I had to use a blotting sheet. But once again, I feel like that's typical with a lot of foundations. So overall, I don't hate this foundation, but I'm not like crazily obsessed with it either. I'm just really satisfied with it. I am happy with it. Like I said, I'm still wearing it today, even after testing it out. If you're someone who likes really long wearing foundation, I don't really think that this one is going to be the one for you. If you're going somewhere, you know, like where you're going to be out in heat for over 6 hours, I would go with something maybe a little bit more heavy duty. But if you're just out like running errands or just having like a typical day where you're just outside, I don't know, for however many hours, I feel like it's good enough, especially if you did feel the need to set it with a powder foundation. But overall, I really am happy with the foundation. I will continue to use it. I don't really know if I'd repurchase it just because I have so many other foundations in my collection. And one thing I wanted to quickly mention is I feel like a lot of people kind of watch these reviews to see whether, you know, should I go buy it or should I not? So I guess my answer to that is if you're someone like me where you want to try out every new foundation that comes out, or you're just really into testing out new drugstore products, I definitely think it is worth its shot. But if you're on a tighter budget and you're looking for a new foundation like to use every day, I don't really know that this one would be the one for you. I feel like it may work better in like the fall and winter. And I say that because I feel like in the summer that's really when like the oils come to the surface of your face. And for the claim of this foundation, like the #1 claim being shine free, I feel like it could have done a better job with that, but it definitely didn't make me like greasy instantly. So those are my final thoughts on the Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free Stick Foundation. That's a lot of words. As I mentioned earlier, my skin is more of a dry to normal. I do get an oily T-zone, but for the most part I am dry. So if you're someone who has really oily skin, just refer down below to Melissa's video because I think that will be a lot more helpful for you guys. Also, if you guys are interested in seeing more of these joint reviews, since one of us has dry skin and the other has oily, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!